Hello, hello.
Hey.
Sorry for the wait. I was setting up and then I realized I'd just come in here because it sounds nicer.
Oh, no problem. Well, no, thank you. Thank you for willing to do this. I've been a fan for a really long time.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So I could just jump around then with your career so far.
Yeah, oh no, yeah, totally.
I know you mentioned before that a really invaluable thing that helped you in terms of acting was taking a Shakespeare 3 class in college.
Well, it helped in that it helped me get over my stage fright, which
Hmm.
I didn't really I sort of knew was a thing, but I didn't until that point. So that yeah, that was invaluable. That really clicked something in my head of just being like, oh, okay, I can do this and not be scared about it. I
Hmm.
think it's just my habit of toss myself in front of the thing that scares me until it's no longer scary. So yeah, that was a good class, and I'm always grateful that I took it. I honestly, in terms of acting lately, I think what's really helped me is I'm currently taking a it's not really an on-camera class. It is a class that focuses on I guess the only term I can think of is live acting,
Yeah.
stage on camera stuff, and I think it's been invaluable because honestly it's been helping me more than any voice class I ever took. Though I all the voice classes I took were helpful, but this one really is helping. It's like I feel like I'm leveling up.
Hmm. And was it before you got to LA that you were doing stuff like the fan dub for Shaman King?
Oh, that was ages ago. Did you find a clip? I'd love to see that again. Yeah, gosh, that Shaman King stuff was. I think I wasn't even in college yet.
Oh, wow.
It would have been hard to do in college because everyone had a roommate, and there's like no peace in college to record stuff if you were a fan of her. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I wasn't even in college yet when I did that. Yeah,
Oh,
definitely. I haven't. I think I only went through college, and then after I got out of college, I think I stopped doing fan dubs.
okay. And then once you got to LA, how long were you working at places like Fresh and Easy before you got into VO?
Okay, how do you know this stuff? Now I'm getting weirded. It's like, wait, how do you know? Was I guess I might have tweeted about it back when, but man, you've gone combing through my tweets then. Yeah, I did all sorts of part-time work. I worked at Fresh and Easy. I did a Disney Expo once as one of their red shirts, just like directing traffic and stuff.
Yeah.
Whatever I could do to survive and pay the bills while I was slowly and surely getting more and more work. I mean, I worked at like a kids game website for just until like I think 3 years ago, doing just like billing stuff because I could do it from home and it really fit my schedule beautifully.
Mhm.
Because they gave me a 4 to midnight shift, which was perfect because I could do all my voice acting ahead of time and then just settle in for the evening because all the most of the studios will close around 5, so it's like cool.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm finally focusing entirely on my voiceover and no part-time work, so that's lovely.
Mhm. What about in terms of anime? Was it with Squid Girl that started everything?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, I think Squid Girl was my first anime role ever. I think yeah, because I think I'd gotten a few video game things, but Squid Girl started. Yeah, Squid Girl started it.
And I have found that people who had theater and music experience, or one or both, they took the dubbing easier. Was that your experience too?
I won't deny the connection because I in middle school and high school I did play clarinet for school and I also did do piano, so I have the music background, so that would make sense.
And then I know, of course, your kind of breakthrough anime role was Sayaka.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the first big one, which again shocked me because I was like, they gave this to me? Oh God. Okay. I was really happy though that was a really great experience, and I loved working with Aniplex and Alex Von David, who just made that experience awesome.
Mhm. Do you still think that you personally relate the most to Sayaka, or is there somebody else as a character that you have played since then?
Not I related to her back then and I still do, and it's more a term of now that I'm again these acting classes I've taken have sort of switched my brain around how I think about it, because it's a term of something they say in the class is you don't need to be anybody else. You have all the characters you need to be are already in you. You just have to tap into them. And now I get that more in that Sayaka was one that was something I automatically clued into easily.
Mhm.
Because yeah, she did feel very familiar. But I get it better now in that now that I know where to go looking, I can say that about more characters. I just have to find what to take out of myself and put in there.
Mhm.
If that if that makes sense. Let's go waxing on poetically about this class and regurgitating everything I've already heard because like I know.
Yeah. Well, and with how many darker characters you've played, what do you think was the most intense emotionally involved you had to get?
Ooh. Well, yeah, Sayaka had to go some really icky places because her mental state just deteriorated
Mhm.
by those later episodes. I don't know. I don't. I think it's that thing of like you go dark places and I think back on them later, but I think I'm too good at that little acting respite they talk about where they're like find a way to leave it in the booth at the end of the day because you don't want to take that home with you.
Right.
It's a calamity of any actor is that you go dark places, but you have to know mentally how to leave it behind because you carry it with you. It's gonna mess you up
Mhm.
really bad. I mean, Neferpito went some pretty dark places too, but Neferpito for most of it was just sort of like didn't give two shits. So, huh? Am I allowed to curse? I kind of get
Yeah,
I get a little mouthy because I start just like popping off curse words.
it's fine.
Um, yeah, I'm trying to think. I definitely think Sayaka was kind of the darkest, one of the darker parts I had to go through because it was very human too.
Mhm.
There's lots of roles where you go dark, but this was very human darkness that I think a lot of people relate to. I related to it,
Yeah.
but it feels very truthful to real life, and that's why it feels like it stuck with me longer.
Mhm.
Because people know that feeling. Anybody knows that feeling. It's not quite the same as a lofty fantasy darkness where it's like, oh, I've destroyed the armies of millions of people. Ha ha ha. I mean, you
Mhm.
want to find a human reason for that sort of thing, but yeah, again, that's why Sayaka resonated with me because it's like this because my brain back then was like, this is very human, and I've felt this too, and I can tap into that.
Do you also think that you have a personal preference on working on darker projects opposed to lighter or comedic?
No, not really. I mean, we all want to work.
Yeah.
So we all want to work on whatever. I think probably if I was I think if I was really depressed I'd probably just want to be like, god, I just want some levity, man.
Mhm.
um but not at the moment. I think it would all depend. I think it would depend on my mood in general. Like right now I'm just like, I want to work on whatevs.
Mhm.
But I have a pretty decent cross section right now in terms of auditions and what I'm actually working on, so it's like, I like getting to have a smorgasbord. It's nice.
Mhm. What about with the entirety that you were playing on Midari? What was the darkest you had to get for her, do you think?
I don't know if I considered Midari that dark. She was fun. That was just fun. It's I think it's the world that Kakegurui lives in.
Mhm.
It's sort of like, yeah, it's. I don't know if I consider it dark per se. I consider it intense.
Yeah.
I think there's a little bit of a I think there's a bit of a barrier of feeling like you're getting too with that particular show because what's the premise? Oh, everybody's horny for gambling. Okay,
Mhm.
yeah, I can run with this. Sure. It's like once you see the mood of the show, you're just like, okay, there's a I don't have to take it quite too seriously. I'm trying I'm trying to think of a equivalent to sort of better explain what I mean because I don't think I'm explaining it well. Ah, dang. I don't know. Yeah, it's because I guess it's not that based in reality. I guess there's
Yeah.
sort of unreal that whole show and the way everybody acts and stuff. So that sort of so I mean it did there that intense part where she well, I'm not going to spoil it, but that intense scene with the pen.
Yeah.
Uh, that's probably it's realness. That's what it is. It's
Mhm.
like I said, Sayaka's stuff, like Madoka as fantastical as it was, treaded on some really human things, like despair and young people and all that. Kakegurui tends to just go for just bombastic, colorful, let's gamble stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so the realness, there weren't a lot of totally, oh my god, we're getting real moments. You know what I mean? You're sort of just enjoying the ride, and then that pen scene comes up, and it's like, okay, my brain, I think back then recording is like, ooh, okay, yeah, that's getting a little real, because, okay.
Yeah. Well, do you remember specifically how you approached things like the bathroom scene?
Oh man, that was hilarious. Because I I didn't audition for Midari. I just got it. And it was one of the few times in my life that I actually didn't go ahead and watch the show ahead of time. I think it was because it was also like I didn't have time at the moment, but I was just like, oh, I was just, again, it was just like, yay, work, that's cool. I was happy to have work. So I knew of the show, but I hadn't watched it. So it's just like, cool, yeah, what are we doing today? Yeah, let's do the scene. Okay, cool, all right. Okay, she crazy, yeah. Like, oh my. So it's like, all right, here's the preview. And I was like, aha.
Mhm.
So I just sort of was like, all right, let's do this. So I just like, well, this is what we're doing today. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And it was yeah. Now people watch Netflix and hear my O sound. That's fun. But I mean, again, Midari was a load of fun, and I just sort of dove into it and be like, this is balls to the wall. Let's go balls to the wall. I'll go for it. And I did, and it was nice too, because the director, after that session came out, he was just like, thank you so much for doing such a job, because this would have been, he sort of was like, because this would have, I know there was some people, he said some people this would have been a bit tough for, but man, you made it an easy process, and you really put every 100% into it. It's like, oh, thank you. I feel nice now.
Yeah. Well, I can say myself too personally that your performance as Midari is some of the best I've heard in anime. Period.
I loved that role. I was so, again, that was an auto cast, so I was so glad somebody in the casting office was like, give this to Sarah, and I was like, thank you. It was a little different, like, not that I hadn't done crazy before, but it was also a lower register character and something I hadn't done up to that point for like professional reasons. I mean, in terms of casting, like, I couldn't think of many deeper voiced like characters like that have been given to play at that point. So I was just like really glad to be like, yes, let me stretch my wings on this. I want to do good on this. It's great. Midari is one of the few roles too that I never had a moment where I was just like, oh yeah, ooh, that sounded kind of weird. Let me do it again, because anything weird worked with her.
Yeah, right.
It's like it just worked.
Well, speaking of Steve Staley too, were you just autocast in Demon Slayer as well?
Yeah, I believe so. And I mean, again, that was nice, because Demon Slayer is like that show. Like I see anime these days, and there's always like that thing of like, it'd be nice to be in that. But my realistic brain knows the casting patterns in certain respects. That's sort of like, as in terms of like, let's see, I'm not probably going to get to read for that. I'm not going to get that character. I might get to read for that character. I don't know if I'll get it. It's that feeling of like, I like this show, but I don't know where I would fit in terms of how I think the casting people are going to work. Until I saw Susumaru, and I was just like, she's mine, my gremlin, I was like, there's the one right there. And then they did give her to me, and I was just like, yes, it's perfect, thank you. It's the one I wanted. It's actually the one I wanted to have.
And I know you've talked about this before too, but I can imagine that just being a dream to be part of Sailor Moon.
Oh yeah. That was the cry. It's like, I hope my career didn't peak at that moment, but it was a really good feeling. Like the audition process and just being like, please, anything in this show. I would have taken an incidental character if they would have let me be in that show in some capacity. And then I get that. And it's just like, yes, it's one of those beautiful moments, like everything, the stars aligned and everything worked out. Yay. Great experience.
Was Yaten someone that you found easy to connect to as well?
Yeah, in a way. I mean, not like anything that familiar, and yet it just clicked really well. I didn't really have any difficulty, even with like the voice shifting. Though with me, I believe out of the three, I was the one who had to shift the least because they were like, no, no, no. With Yaten, leave him in that more boyish, younger tone than the other two are doing.
Mhm.
So I was like, yeah, cool. And yeah, I just liked the way the prickliness. I think there was a point when I was starting to get a lot of prickly hedgehoggy type characters, and I was just like, oh yes, come into the stable, come to me. It's like I like being prickly characters now; they're fun.
Yeah.
I think it worked out because my dad has always called me a curmudgeon growing up. I had a grouchy shirt when I was a kid, and it's just like whatever. Or it's a little tsundere, but quite kind of not. It's just like whatever.
Yeah. Well, then relatively early on, I haven't seen too many people talk about Capellion, but you obviously had a really crazy role in that too.
I really like Capellion. Um, yeah, I mean, again, that was again that was the crazy typecasting that I tended to get, and I liked that too. Though there were that, yeah, in terms of stuff getting real, that had some real feels.
Hmm.
Once they got down to the whole crux of the end episodes and just like the friggin' breakdown those two sisters had, it was like, ooh. It's like that's sort of an actor's sort of it's that double standard of oh yeah let me as an actor do this sort of thing, but it's like oh my heart.
Yep. And then shortly after that was Myron Alexius.
Yeah, that was a nice change of pace because I hadn't gotten to do a lot of more regal sort of non-blue blood characters.
Mhm.
It gave me a chance to sort of work on that upper crust type character, which I hadn't gotten a lot of practice at yet. So they guided me through it because I think a little bit was like, am I doing it right? Oh yeah, enunciate, doing your stuff.
Mhm.
She was fun though because she had that, but then she also had the little again the edge of craziness where she just doesn't take any crap for very long.
Mhm. And vocally speaking, so far, what do you think is the case where you've had to alter your voice the most significantly?
Hmm. Um. I mean, not like out of my range, but Cagliostro is a fun exercise because she's two voices in one. She's her cutesy voice, and then the lower the lower pitched real version of herself coming through, and it's been really fun to play with that. And I know back when we were recording for the fighting game, it was fun because they were sort of like man you shift seamlessly. I'm like yeah, thank you, glad to know I have that skill.
Yeah.
Um, and I guess in terms of something I liked doing Battle Chef Brigade with
Oh yeah.
that Swedish character because that was very different of having to do an accent I'd never done professionally and having all my notes during the session be like, okay, hang on, I just want to make sure I do that shift. Okay, I'm gonna pull that shift off because it makes me sound too incomprehensible. That was a bit of a challenge, but it came out as well as it could come out, and I was still pleased with it. Even though a real Swedish person heard me and commented like, "That's not what we sound like," and I was like, "No, I'm sorry."
What about I know there hasn't been too many male characters, but do you have a particular process for boy voices too?
Yeah, no, it's just again one of those things. I mean, that's what they tell female voice actors. I think I recall they're like you need to have three voices in your toolbox at all times. It's like you need your normal voice, you need an elderly lady voice, and you need a boy voice. And it depends on the boy sometimes, honestly, because I know there's been times where it's like I've had a boy voice and it's just like I can't seem to get it quite right to them. Like I don't like the way that sounds. And there's other boy voices that it's like that works perfectly. Yay. Um, I know. Recently in Life in Liedel, I think it was called, they let me play Primo, and I was like, "That was a good kid. I like that." I was also doing the Silver Guardian Tower, and
Yeah.
that was kind of a boy voice, but kind of not. And I did worry a little bit. It's just like as long as they don't talk to each other, we're okay, right? Because I worry they're a little close to each other. I was like, "No, it's good." I was like, "Okay, cool, cool, cool."
Mhm. Well,
I,
you got to
yeah,
do a lot of fun stuff with Pang and Beyblade too.
yeah. I think that might have been one of the first boy voices I got to do. I mean, I've probably done like one or two, like for a line or two for something or other, but that was kind of like the first big one. And there was always that worry because I hadn't gotten to test those muscles in long periods of time like it did with that role. But Tony Oliver would always keep me on track and make sure I wasn't slipping too hard into female ranges. But yeah, Pain was fun. That whole show was fun. It was so bombastic.
Mm-hmm. How about many cases so far where you've gotten to perform with yourself?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's like that Barbie movie. What was that called? Starlight Adventure.
Oh,
That was fun because I was playing twins opposite each other, and they always they had a habit of finishing each other's sentences, and so I had two voices for that too. And most of the time also we weren't separating the takes in the session. It was literally me going and talking off of myself.
oh,
The only time we stopped and the only time I stopped and like did them separately is when they had to speak in unison, because obviously I can't speak in two voices. But yeah, that one was fun, and I like when I get to do that. I can't think of many other roles so far where I've gotten to play like two characters opposite. Yeah, no, I liked those twins. They were fun.
And talking about directors again, having interviewed Michael Sorge as well, I know he's hilarious, and you've gotten to work with him many times.
Oh yeah, Michael's great. And I jokingly at one point was like, I've been joking forever. He's like, you owe me a sandwich. You owe me a sandwich. He's like, and we did finally get that sandwich. He had me for To Your Eternity, and then he had me for Comey Can't Communicate, which were both a lot of fun. Because he's a good director too, and he knows what he wants, and he knows how to sort of get you on track without sounding too complicated about it. I like that.
Mm-hmm. I know it was cool too with everybody in Comey just got auto cast by him.
That's true. It is because of him, because he specifically was like, I wanted you for this one. I was like, thank you.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, again, it's like, yay, work.
What about with Hikari? Is there anything you could relate to her with?
Oh yeah, I mean that show is with Comey and her. It's true introverts.
Yeah.
Two anxious introverts, except that you're seeing two different sides of how that works out. So totally that feeling of just like, don't put me in the crowd, please. Don't pay attention to me. Let me just go through my life invisible, please. Yeah. I don't want to be noticed. It's like, I love Nagari. She's a sweetheart.
Mm. You still have a lot of affinity with Ruka?
Ruka was interesting. I wasn't expecting to get her. That was a last minute audition I got. I was just like, I was like, really? Are you sure on this one? Okay, yeah, I'll do it. But then it worked out in the end. I was like, yay. Ruka, I kind of appreciate the gung-ho-ness. She's definitely a girl who knows what she wants, and she'll go to a few questionable lengths to get it. But it's coming from again, there's that humanness then that really does come in with her.
Mm-hmm.
That feels a little more real than I was expecting when I started that show, and then you see why, and it's like, oh, there it is in the chest. Ow. Yeah. It's like, oh honey, no. So it's that frustration of like, I would be frustrated with her if I was the guy dealing with her, but on the other hand, it's just like that realness of, crud, I get why she's doing it though, and I can't, I mean, this is me as the viewer. As the character, I can't think that way, but like as the viewer, it's like, I get it. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't typically watch anime like that, but I thought that Rent a Girlfriend stood out a lot as well because of the more grounded aspect of it, especially as it progressed.
Grounded, that's another word for it too. Grounded. When things get real, it's also usually grounded stuff too.
Yeah. So then, when did you first get involved with the SMT series?
I think the first time they had me was I think it was Shin Megami Tensei 4 Apocalypse. That was a DS game, I believe.
Yeah, Napia.
Yeah, that was the first time I got. Well, it was. I think I played Napia. That was the first time I got to play Jack Frost.
Yeah.
And I was King Frost in that too. I think it was a couple incidentals too. But yeah, that was the first time I got to finally work on that series. And well, let's face it, Jack Frost paid off in dividends because it seems like they just keep calling me back to do Jack Frost again. I was just like, yay, that's the most job security I've ever had in this business.
Mm-hmm.
Because then because it was that, and then it was Persona 5, and then it's Shin Megami Tensei 5, and goodness, that's the point I'm losing track of how many times I've been Jack Frost.
Is it difficult to bring acting to a role like Jack?
Oh no, I mean, he's got a personality. You have to act with him. Because he's there. It's the iteration of what you do too. Because it's like there's Jack Frost, there's also Black Frost when he pops up, which is a much more aggressive, evil version.
Yeah.
And it depends on Jack Frost's mood of if he's going to be adorable or if he's going to be the adorable with a side of I'm also going to kill you.
Yeah. And with
it depends.
Yeah, well, and with SMT5, were Demeter and Manananggal just given to you then?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many demons in that game. I'm pretty sure most people were handling at least 3 to 4 demons at once if they weren't like also a main character. And I believe so, yeah, and also Alice.
Yeah.
Who was sort of an accident because I had mentioned to them how I did do Alice in the Persona 5 anime, and they were like, "Oh, we could just have you do it again?" I was like, "Oh, you sure? No one else has it? I mean, yeah, I'd love to come back and do Alice. I love Alice. She's awesome." I still haven't beat the third game, even though I played the third game, I think like 4 times now, but I keep playing it wrong, and I'm trying to play it right because I want to get the right ending, and it's hard.
Oh yeah.
Restart it again because I've over leveled and I don't think I'm going to get the Pierce move you need to do the final boss. And I'm just like,
oh. And then with something like, I've talked to a few of the new Hello Kitty cast too, but was that a really involved audition process for you?
Not much more than any other, really. There were a lot of characters to audition for. I mean, I went across the board on auditioning for that show. I think I did. Yeah, I auditioned for most of the main cast from the first series, and I think I've actually auditioned for a lot of the newer characters that came in too. But I haven't gotten anything else. But it's okay because it's like I'm Hello Kitty, so what am I going to complain about?
Yeah.
And no, that was super surprising too because I was sure I was just going to get one of the other characters. Because I normally don't get leads, and I was sure as heck wasn't expecting to get Hello Kitty herself. But I was just like, yeah, and it's been great though. And I guess I guess that was one of those little magic things where I didn't realize that I had clicked with the character as well as I did till I'm like a season in, and I'm suddenly like, oh. I'm doing this right, and I'm doing it right so often. I was like, maybe I just get this.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that Hello Kitty is one of your personal biggest accomplishments as a voice artist so far?
I mean, it's definitely big. It's that thing is like I'm an iconic character.
Yeah.
I haven't quite gotten something like that since Jack Frost, who's like the Alice mascot. So.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he's just one of the demons, it's like he's so popular. Yeah, and the Sanrio people have been super awesome to me too, and I'm just like, wow, I'm so glad you guys like me so much. It's great.
Yeah.
I do love Hello Kitty, and it's been so that the series is, gosh, got to 4 seasons of that too, and it's just been great.
Yeah. How did you, another really big franchise, how did you become involved with Pokemon for the first time too?
Pokemon, that was just auditioning, like most things. It's that thing. How did you get involved? And mostly like I auditioned.
Yeah.
If there was a secret, I'd just be like, go to all the big franchise, and be like, let me in, please, thank you. Yeah. No, I think that was Pokemon Masters, I believe. Yeah, Pokemon was just the auditions came in, and I auditioned, and I got it.
What about the first Fate series you worked on?
That was that Apocrypha, or did I do no?
I think maybe it was Apocrypha.
I don't feel like I've done something else in Fate because I don't think I have. I think it was Apocrypha. Apocrypha was another autocast.
Oh, okay.
Which I think was because since I play crazy so much, they also knew I was going to be good at a lot of yelling and screaming, and I was just like, yeah, I'm down.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a fun role because it was both super easy because I can pull reaction sounds out of my butt, but
Hmm.
also extremely challenging because it's not really just grunts and screams. She is communicating emotions through them, so you actually do have to act in them. You can't just grunt and call it a day. Plus the fact that that role is going to be very vocally taxing, so I had to be careful not to throw my voice out because that's a lot of roughness on your throat.
Hmm. Well, that does make me think to ask, just in general with voiceover so far, what do you think the most vocally taxing session you've had is?
Yeah, I mean, again, a lot of the apocrypha stuff was tough. I think going back to Peacock and Skullgirls, man, that first session was hard. I didn't know it was hard until I finished it. It was like 4 hours of just like that voice, and I didn't know how to place it safely at the time. So
Oh,
thing of like walking out of the session, like, thanks guys, that was a lot of fun. Door closes. Ow! I think I spent the rest of the day in bed not talking because it's like, oh my god, my throat.
yeah.
That was pretty taxing. I've learned now. I know a little better not to like to destroy my voice if I can help it.
Mhm.
I mean, sometimes you can't, and that's a case of there's a lot of voice actors as they get on with their careers kind of just stop doing those roles because they know it's gonna hurt they know it's gonna just tax their voice too much. And yeah, it's like I know voice actors who will not do like Call of Duty style games and stuff because they know it's gonna be really, really hard on their voices and they just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, fair enough. I'm sure there's certain points where I've looked at things and I'm just like, how much is this gonna get me? Because you don't want to permanently damage yourself. You have to be careful.
Well, going back to the Fate franchise, the other main instance was you had a really cool character in the El Malloy case files.
Yeah, that was the other one. I forgot it because it's not technically called Fate.
Yeah.
She was fun. She was, again, that was one of those upper crust characters I got to play around with, and she's just a odd little delight.
Hmm.
She's so very forward.
Yeah.
We did make jokes about that. But I believe that was Christian who directed it, and he was great.
Hmm.
And I really enjoyed getting to flex that muscle again because I tend to play a lot of upper crust characters, and I've been working slowly but surely. I'm getting more because I'm finally getting how that feels in my head now.
Hmm. And then with another pretty big anime role, were you familiar with the Berserk series when you got into it?
Kind of familiar. I just knew of it as much as I know of most anime that I tend to just pay attention to and like look at least, though maybe not watch. I mean, gosh, that one's a classic. That one's been around since the first anime series. I think I think they only let me audition for Puck, which was fine because I wasn't really feeling like doing any of the roles that had a previous voice actor. I felt a little odd about that, to be honest.
Oh,
But Puck was like, well, Puck only had one other voice, and that was like in that one game, and that was Cam Clark. And Cam Clark's got better things to do than come do an anime at this point. So
yeah.
I was like, I think I'm okay on this one.
Hmm.
I'm very, very particular about replacing people if I can help it. There's like a very specific set of circumstances that has to happen for me to be like, yeah, I'll take that role.
Hmm.
I'm very, very careful if I can help it. I've had instances where I did, and I wasn't happy about it because I didn't like the way it went down, and I was just like, "Mm."
Yeah.
So I do my best to like look into to get information about when that kind of thing happened, asking my agent like, why is this being recast? Why are they not just getting the old person back? What's going on with this, and it's mostly I've been able to be careful about it, and on a few occasions it didn't work out that way. I was just like, ugh.
Yeah. Well, when you were first starting out, or even today, who are some voice actors for anime that inspired you the most?
I was a really big fan of Crispin Freeman. Yeah, I was a really big fangirl, actually. I mean, there was just a lot of names that I really, really respected. I'm trying to, it's like trying to think back then. It's like, what was it back then, though? It's just like, it's hard to remember. Like, there's still a lot, because now I work with them, and I'm just like, this is interesting. And now, I mean, it's past that point where I'm just like, oh my god. Now it's just like, hey, how you doing? Like, yeah, Crispin Freeman, all Wendy Lee, Steve Bloom, just just all those big names, you know.
Mhm. And then, so with Fire Emblem, was that again just a pretty general audition?
For I believe for Leviathan, yeah, that was an audition. For Mist I think was an autocast.
Okay.
Though that was one I did, as I said, I had to check on because she had had a voice previously from the game, and I had to email and be like, "What's going on with this situation?" And I think they just said, I believe they just said that they weren't able to get her at that point, and I was like, okay, this, I guess that's all right then.
Mhm.
You know, it has to be that thing. It's like you can't get them, or they're dead, or they stepped down themselves. And I was like, okay, that's all right then.
Mhm.
And
Were you playing any of the games before you got cast?
no. And that's so funny to me because I own them. I just have a huge backlog of games I haven't, like, I have the GameCube games, and I just haven't gotten around to playing them, but I own them. And I didn't my phone is so weird. It's like I need to update it. I think if Fire Emblem wants to run on it.
Yeah.
Again, though, I haven't. Again, it's that thing where it's like, even if I haven't watched it or played it, I usually have a knowledge just because I'm a nerd and I look into that stuff anyway.
Mhm.
So it's just like, it's like, oh yeah, I know Ike, I know Mist, I know Marth, I know Roy, I know like most of that stuff. I like to look it up anyway. And then they were in Smash Brothers, so that made it more apparent.
Mhm. What's been your favorite skin of Leviathan so far?
I really liked the beach one, was really cute,
Mhm.
just because of her little interactions too with her sister. I would love to see a double skin with her and her sister, because they're doing that now, because it's just like, oh, she's got a little bit of a sister complex. It's cute.
Mhm.
Just like that one was fun. I'm trying to think. There was the spring one, there was the ninja one. That was it, right? I think it was 3 so far they've done. Yeah, I liked the beach one a lot, though. That was cute.
Are there any favorite lines for her, just in regardless of skin that you can remember?
I mean, again, I remember with the beach one, I think there was a line where she threatens to drown someone or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's in keeping with Leviathan. It's like, oh, you're so stoic. I loves you.
Mhm. This might be obvious too, but do you think that you can relate more to her or to Mist?
It depends. I like stoic characters because sometimes I feel deadpan in my own soul, and it's a mood. But Mist is nice too because she's just a little ray of sunshine, and she it's nice to see someone who isn't like jaded by the world, and she's so sweet. Oh, maybe Leviathan again. She tends towards that curmudgeonness that I appreciate in my own life.
Mhm. Well, I know most recently you got to come back for the young Mist and young Ike
Yeah, that was
skins.
adorable. It was adorable. I was just like, I was like, I'm finally doing one of the double ones. It's like, this is so cute. Just like big brother. I'm just like, ah, that was a lot of fun to do.
What was your experience being directed by Caitlin Galt?
That was my first time with her, and yeah, she was great. I loved it. And I mean, again, it's just that thing of like, I rarely have an instance with a director I've not just had that I've not liked.
Mhm.
And you know, it was. I'm trying to think of that session because it was kind of long ago. No, because she was super sweet and she made me feel super comfortable, and we got through that like it was nothing.
Yeah. And for those who aren't aware, I would take it that even with the duo skins, that those are all still recorded individually.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. Maybe there's some of them they might have done differently, but I know. Yeah, I was by myself when I did it.
Okay.
But I had Greg's line to bounce off of because they had him recorded already, so they just played him for me, and I was just like, cool, this works.
Yeah. So then, pretty recently, I know you got to be part of Triangle Strategy.
Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, that was when we did that. I think we were doing that during the pandemic too. So, but most things lately, we still
Mm.
kind of liked that role because that was not what I was expecting because I had auditioned for it back when, and then they came back being like, hey, here's a role, and I was like, oh, this is still going, cool. Yes, I'll do.
Yeah.
And yeah, we had to that she was very particular eccentricness that I don't normally do, but it was like once we got on track, I was like, yeah, this is fine.
Mhm.
I liked her. She was fun. She's almost too much and yet not, and you don't know what to do with that.
Mhm. Do you tend to play or watch a lot of the media that you're in?
I try to, but time to play games these days is just like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
still trying to finish it. Still trying to finish Evil Within so I can play the second one. I haven't gone back to it for ages. Like again, I have so many games upstairs that I own, but I haven't played yet because of my backlog,
Mhm.
and it's hard to get time.
Yeah.
I try to check out my stuff though, at least to spot check how I sounded and be like, yeah, you did a good job. No, moving on.
Mhm. Usually I ask this in the beginning of my interviews, but is there a special story of how you got into SAG?
Sort of. Gosh, this was way back when. Matt Mercer, who most people know from Critical Role, he did this little mini series, or directed it. I forget how he was involved. I know he was the director, but I wonder if he was like wholly responsible for it too. Um, he did a little mini series parody of Game of Thrones called School of Thrones.
Okay.
And he kind of put out this uh PSA for asking, well, not PSA, but he asked around being like, hey, is anyone interested in doing like some extra work for this thing I'm doing? And at the time, me and two other people were just like, oh, it's Matt, of course we want to help Matt, like don't he, like, yeah, it's literally like, put up the bat signal, we'll come.
Mhm.
And so we went and we helped, and it was like a 3-day thing. And later they told, we didn't know at the time, but then later into the shooting they told us, it's like, you're getting SAG vouchers for each day you're here, you know that, right? And we're like, I'm sorry, what? We were like, wait, we're getting SAG vouchers, oh my god. And again, 3 days, 3 SAG vouchers, you're eligible. So I kind of have Matt Mercer to thank for that.
Wow.
We had no idea. I had no idea at the time I was going to get eligible for that. We just wanted to help Matt out,
Yeah.
but then we got that extra bonus. It's like, awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
My roommate actually managed to get a line because they needed some guys to yell Greyjoy, and if you speak a line, you automatically are eligible. Like
Mhm.
if you have a role that's even just a word, you are automatically eligible for SAG in an instant once they
Mhm.
put the paperwork through. So he was eligible in a day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, Matt Mercer.
So in some of the other more recent credits, I know, of course, you got to be in the JJK movie.
Yep, coming back as Akari, and then they also gave me Himiko, which was fun because evil. It's fun to be evil every so often. Just like, yay.
Yeah. And then Freedom Planet 2.
Yeah, that I think that has a date now. I hope I worry with that one. I'm going to be super annoying, but that is the character. His name is He's going to do that
Okay.
in a loud capacity a lot. That was a lot of fun. I went down to Texas actually to record that and just had a good time.
Oh, okay. Well, is there anything else that's upcoming that you're part of that you can safely talk about?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, no, everything's still under NDA.
Well, then, my final question is always asking, what do you want your legacy to be?
My goodness, I don't know. Think I guess it'd be nice to have one role that's sort of like iconic, and it's like, that's yours and nobody else could do it like you. Like like the way Mark Hamill is like the Joker. Like no one is going to match his vocals of the Joker. But I mean, I'm just happy working, and hopefully I will retire and be able to support myself, or I can be like June Foray and just like keep voice acting until I'm freaking 90 years old, and that would be fun too if I wanted to keep working.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, a legacy. That's heavy. I hadn't thought about that. That's my legacy. Yeah.
Well, is there something that you want people to take away from your performances so far?
I don't know. I hope people enjoy it, and I guess there's that thing too of like, you know, you get those things where people are like, you really helped me just doing that role, and I'm just like, wow, okay. But I guess it's again that relatability thing where it's just like if you can see something in a character and it touches on something in your own life and it helps you reflect on that, then that's good. And I'm always glad to do that. That always again that thing of like, ooh, feels like a big responsibility.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you. I'm glad that we got to do this.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me and taking the time, and cue.
Yeah. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, Pat, you have a good week, because goodness, Monday.
Okay.
Then I guess, yeah, I'll head off then.
Yeah. Bye.
All right, bye-bye.